Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Sarcasm Speaks. Jared and Bob here. And I want to kick things off with something that I think personally is very interesting. So before I get into it, right, let's just you might be able to figure out where I'm going with this by some of the questions that I'm going to pose. But um, when you think of like something along the lines of like the Olympics, right? What what typically comes to mind as far as like rooting interests? It's not really a trick question either. Like I think the
Like
answer is relatively
any
simple.
anything regarding the United States.
Yeah, you root for your country to succeed regardless, right? Even in like the Winter Olympics or what is it? Yeah, the biathlon, where it's you
The
ski
skiing and the
and then you
shooting.
shoot. Yeah, completely ridiculous sport. The United States, I don't believe, is very good at it. I think it's mostly the Scandinavian countries and Germany, oddly enough, that rule the biathlon. But like you name a sport, right? Even like the World Baseball Classic, I think that's probably a pretty good one, right? Because the World Baseball Classic is you can be an American, right? But you could also be like Dominican, right? You could be Puerto Rican, and most often someone that was born in the United States, right, is a full-fledged U.S. citizen, but has Puerto Rican heritage. Most likely, they're just going to root all out for the Puerto Rican baseball team in the World Baseball Classic, right? Like I would say, obviously that's not a rule across the board, but I would say more often than not, that's kind of how things roll, right? When it comes to like these nationalized sports events. Um, well, what I think is super interesting, right? In the World Cup, right? That's another one too. People just, well, it's different in this country because we suck at soccer. So whatever. Which actually kind of leads me into my whole point and what I find super interesting. The US women's national team, the soccer team. Um, Now, forgive me, I actually don't know the answer to this. Maybe you don't either, because it's women's sports and who gives a shit. Um, is this the women's Olympics or is this the women's World Cup that's going
World
on right now?
World Cup.
Okay,
Olympics are the same
women,
for
yeah,
everybody.
women don't have the same.
They don't segregate Olympics.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. All right, that's a good one.
The Special Olympics were this year though. You could bet on those.
I'm surprised I didn't get invited to those.
You had to be
Um,
bet online.
um, so the Women's World Cup, right? The United States, heavy favorite. I think the U.S. women's team, U.S. women's soccer team, has won the last two, if not the last three World
No,
Cups
they
in a row.
lost. They lost in 2011 in
Okay, so
Kings.
the last two straight they
Yep.
won
Yep.
and been to the final at least three in a row.
Yeah, and they probably won like two before that too or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Brandy Chastain in
That
'98.
was 98. I don't think they've won since 98, but
Yeah, that was everyone
generally they're
was
generally
freaking
they're up
out
there.
because Brandy Chastain took her fucking jersey off, and they were like, "How dare she?" It's like, dude, she had a fucking sports bra on underneath. It's not like she went like full bare chested on
I can't
TV.
believe she got completely naked on the field.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sickening.
Celebrating her team's national fucking victory. Probably at that point was the first one for the U.S. women's soccer team. Um, but yeah, either way. So women's soccer is very good in the United States. Men's soccer, fucking terrible. It's a laughing stock. They didn't even qualify for the World Cup the last time it happened, or maybe two times ago. And the last time they barely got in and then got fucking destroyed again. They suck. They're terrible. They're awful. Women absolutely dominate the rest of the world. So, taking kind of like what I opened with, right, in this, you would think more often than not, the people in this country would be like super supportive at least, right? Again, like I said before, women's sports, so like who gives a shit? But of the people that do give a shit, you would think they would be mostly supportive, right? Because it's the national team. It's us versus the rest of the world. It's a competition, right? It's just how it always typically goes. Well, not this time around. And I think there's someone out there has to be doing this. Whether or not it will ever get published is another thing or whatever. But I think there's a very interesting like social psychology experiment in this women's national soccer team, because since the last World Cup, really, I'm not going to say every woman on the team because it's not true. There are some women on the team that have come out and been like, yeah, I don't deal with politics and bullshit. I'm just here to play soccer. But most of the women on the team have kind of turned into a bit of more in the vein of like a social justice warrior, right? It all started with, we want to get paid the same as the men, because I think it was the last World Cup round, because the previous, not the one men's World Cup was what, last year or 2 years ago?
I don't even remember.
Whenever it was the one prior to that. So it's not the most recent previous one. It's the 2 World Cups ago was when the men didn't even qualify. So the women won the World Cup. The men didn't even qualify. And after they won, they were like, we don't get paid as much as the men. And the men didn't even get to go. And it's like, okay, well, everything goes off a percentage of ticket sales, right? So like sell more tickets. If you want to make more money, sell more tickets, right? It's pretty easy. Like that's...
Or get good broadcast deals.
Yes, get good broadcast deals. Part of that is the reason, this is a little bit of a tangent here, but if you look at other sports, right? The Arizona Coyotes. Why did the Arizona Coyotes never have a good team? Because no one gives a shit about hockey in Arizona. 1. 2, no one buys tickets to go watch them. So that team in and of itself doesn't generate as much revenue for the owner to want to spend money. Now, as a league-wide way to remedy that situation, because I would imagine, I'm not up to date on my sports history here, but I would imagine that the reason why most professional sports leagues institute some sort of like shared revenue model is that in and of itself, right? So if you go to football, let's use football as an example, because hockey's not super popular. The New England Patriots and the Dallas Cowboys, the team could absolutely fucking suck. They're going to sell out stadiums. They're going to sell tickets. People love the Patriots. People love the Cowboys, right? I would throw the 49ers in there too. They're like, yeah, the Packers, right? They're all across the board.
There's like 8 teams.
The Cleveland Browns or the Jacksonville Jaguars do not sell. Jacksonville's a better example. Jacksonville Jaguars, they do not give a flying fuck about their team.
Carolina.
If there was no revenue sharing model, which comes into play with like why there's a salary cap and again the shared revenue and all this stuff, if that didn't exist, the Jacksonville Jaguars would no longer exist as a professional football franchise.
No, because they would only be 10 teams.
Right. They don't generate enough revenue to justify their owner to spend the money. But because there's a league-wide salary cap and shared revenue and good deals, and it helps that in this particular one-off case, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars is an oil prince from the Middle East. But like he has the money to spend and is willing to spend it, right? So that's my tangent, right? That's how that works. It's if you want to get paid more, like you said, get a better broadcast deal, sell more tickets, do whatever, right? Generate more press, I guess. Although they've done that, right? But the way they've done that is by complaining.
It's not, you need people to attend and watch games. That's
right.
it. There's no other way. That's
ticket sales and jersey sales. Those are, I would say, the main drivers.
Watch and show up. Watch and show up. Because even like jersey sales, that's going to go back to the players and the individual teams and the pro shops.
Right.
People need to watch you. People need to show up to your shit. That's how it works.
Right. Which is also why men's professional soccer does not make that much, right? They're not, I mean, yeah, Lionel Messi just signed a massive deal, but he's Lionel Messi. They gave him
Well,
equity. They gave him equity in the fucking football in the team, right?
International players make a shitload.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
American
But that's what I mean.
players do not
In
make
America, you do not make that much money as a professional soccer player. Internationally, soccer players
make more
make the
than
most
anyone.
money,
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
They were talking about just one of the Saudi teams was going to pay a billion with a B, $1 billion for Mbappe to come over from the France team for 1 year.
One year,
1 year.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
How do you say no to that?
I know.
So much money, and he's so fucking young. He could easily come back.
I know. So here we go. Herein lies the social experiment, right? The psychology experiment that someone out there should do. Maybe they are going to do it, but I don't know if we'll ever hear anything about it. Ever since the last, I would say, not just since the last World Cup, but call it the last like 6-ish years. Anytime the U.S. women's soccer team has been in the press, it's been, I wouldn't say, I hesitate to use the word negative, but it hasn't been for positive reasons, right? It's been, we don't make enough as we deserve, or we make less than the men do, or we don't get our fair share, or it's life isn't fair, right? It's the trope that they just pump out there. And then more recently, they've taken up the platform of the, hardcore, like the trans movement, right? Like they've gotten involved with that. Like Megan Rapinoe, I don't know how to say her name.
I don't either.
But she's come out. She's the captain, right? When she was younger, she was very, very, very good. She's now retiring, and it's very clear why she retired, because she's not that good anymore. But she, at one point, I believe, was the best player on the team. So I will give her credit for that. But these women are coming out and like doing more to talk poorly about the country than they are about like, let's get people excited about us as a team, right? And again, here I am standing on a fucking soapbox on a podcast where 100 people listen to us, and I will never probably make in my lifetime what Megan Rapinoe has made in her professional career, right? So who am I to tell her how to go about her business? I get it. I understand. But that's the whole point of this podcast, right? I'm just, thinking out loud here. A lot of what they've been saying has been kind of like against what the average person probably would support, right? Again, the whole whining about not getting paid enough, getting involved in racial issues, and the whole like sexuality debate, right? Like they're getting so involved in all of this shit that they've now become intertwined with social justice issues more than being women's soccer players. So this is all like a kind of really long, convoluted way to say that they lost, right? Yesterday, I think.
I think it was this morning.
This morning. So they lost this morning in a shootout. They lost in kicks in the first round. So this is basically the equivalent of the Bruins from this year, right? The U.S. women's soccer team is a fucking juggernaut. They went to 3 straight finals of the World Cup. They've won the last 2 in a row. They got through the round robin portion, and now in the first round they lose to fucking Sweden after going 0-0 through overtime and go to penalty kicks, and they lose, right? And fitting that Megan Rapinoe is the one that misses the kick that loses them the game. But I haven't seen one person on Twitter or Instagram that's been supportive of the team in their loss. Every single thing I've seen was, well, should have spent more time focusing on soccer. Oh, this is what you get for being a social justice warrior, not a soccer player. Oh, could have told you they would have lost. Oh, I called it pre-tournament. Don't bet on the U.S. women's team. Oh, I told you to stay away from this women's team. They're not that good. They're not soccer players. They're social justice fighters. They're literally everyone has been ripping them. And I don't think I've ever seen that. Granted, and to caveat, right? Just to be fair, I haven't paid super close attention to our national teams when they lose something, but I feel like I haven't seen this level of hatred almost for a national sports team, right? This isn't like, it's not like AAU baseball, right? Where, the Medford Wellington team goes on, or the Little League World Series, right? The Medford Wellington team goes on to represent the state of Massachusetts. So it's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, they're labeled Massachusetts, but like, it's Medford. So why should someone from Duxbury give a shit? So I understand that part, but like, this is it. There's just one women's national soccer team, and it's a national sports team, and they lost in the first round, and people are excited about
it. Yeah, and I thought, so I'm going to play a little devil's advocate too. So I'm actually going to go to Twitter if I can quickly pull up what people are saying. Because part of me, so Megan Rapinoe, I don't know how her name's pronounced. I don't really care either. Even in the last World Cup, when she was scoring goals and they were winning and it was all great, the one thing I used to hate about her in those games is, she would do whatever, she would score, then she would run over to the sideline, she would do like a pose or something, she like hold her arms out, like whatever, and then everyone came to her almost like, I am a golden god, like,
yeah,
come to me, I am your savior for scoring goals, while doing all the activism shit, whatever.
Right.
But it always seemed like it's me. Look at me. Come to me. Celebrate with me. I scored. Look at me. Me. That's what it always felt like when as a viewer, seeing the highlights. That's what it always seemed like to me. So I never really liked her as an athlete. And then you're seeing like some of the shit today. It's like dancing after a 0-0 tie with Portugal and doing whatever. I don't know what the fuck she was doing or what the fuck she was wearing before the match today. And it's like, what are you doing? And then it's like, you know what? If you get saved in PKs, fine. You missed a soccer net. You're a fucking professional and you missed a soccer net. Now, David Villa in the 2010 World Cup fucked me on an over 2.5 when he already had 2 goals in the game, and he fucking launched it over the crossbar too. And that game ended 2-0. I did not cash my over. And he won the fucking golden balloon knot or whatever the fuck they give out to the best player. So it happens. But Spain won that World Cup, and they won that game with him fucking launching one and fucking killing a kid in the crowd. She could have won it. Right there. That would have won it if she's, I think so. I think maybe not. That could be wrong. Because she was like 4th to go or something.
Okay.
She could have won with her kick, I believe. She misses and she laughs. And it's like, God, you are fucking insufferable. For anyone that watches sports, it's like, what are you laughing about? What the fuck is so goddamn funny? You're like a fucking child. That's what the children do. When things get awkward, they laugh.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be one of the best ever.
Right.
What the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Anywho. So,
and just super quick, like just to defend you before people try and be like, oh, you're a fucking misogynist, whatever. I would say it's probably the equivalent of like the LeBron thing, and why me personally, I don't like LeBron. And I'm sure you could potentially feel the same way, is because LeBron was always me, I, right? After the press conferences and the games, it was, well, I did this, I did that. And then I saw there was someone put together like a side-by-side in a post-game interview with LeBron and Michael Jordan, or it was either LeBron and Michael Jordan or LeBron and Giannis. Could have been both, really. But and everything LeBron said was like, I, me, I. And then whoever the other one was, whether it was MJ or Giannis, was, we did this. The team came together. The team played great. We all came together and we all did that. It was like, it's just super. That's the type of shit that people hate, right? And that's why people hate LeBron, for the same reason that you hate Megan Rapinoe, which is totally fine. It has nothing to do with.
Yeah, and that's just what I observed.
Right.
Now, for all the people that are like, oh, see, go woke, you lose. Oh, see, should have spent more time, whatever. That's also a little short-sighted because straight up, they just didn't perform.
Right.
That happens in sports. Teams don't play to their potential.
See the 2023 Boston Bruins.
Yeah. 2016 Warriors.
Yeah.
2000
2007 Patriots.
Mariners, 2007 Patriots. Plenty of examples.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't lose and they didn't get bounced because they went woke and they care about this, whatever. Because ultimately, if they want to get paid more, who the fuck is going to defend them if they don't defend themselves?
Right.
Now, if they feel strongly about certain topics, again, it's World Cup time. People are paying attention. You feel strongly, you bring it up. Listen, I don't know. Like, I think it's a little bit of a weird, like the trans thing is a little bit of a weird thing, especially when it comes to the women's game. I just find it very odd because we've been on this podcast and I don't like the trans influence in the women's game. Like it's not, I don't think it creates fairness, equity.
When it comes to athletics and anything physical,
I don't like it. And
it's not
if
okay.
anyone thinks I'm a fucking bigot or some shit for that, like I'll have that conversation. That's okay. Like I'll defend that one. It's such a weird thing because it's like if you are the national soccer team, like everyone's watching you, and it's like there are these young girls that they want to be you again, I guess ideally, but if they get to middle school or high school and they have to start going against like biological men, and they're just getting like beat out of roster spots or beat out of games or losing championships, it's like it's a weird thing to do, like using the sport platform, like because you can use your platform elsewhere, but like using the sport platform to almost promote a threat to your sport, like kind of
Yeah.
like I don't want to say like a threat because it's not like a threat of like terrorism or anything, but it's like it's just a weird, like that's what I mean, it's just a weird thing.
It's like you're favoring your potential
demise in a way.
Is it obsolescence?
I don't know.
You become obsolete.
Yeah,
right?
so it's not but again, at the same time, just saying you defend like trans rights doesn't mean, well, we only want trans people in sport. Like that's not what they're saying.
Right.
So
right,
it's
right,
like
right,
it's just that's what I'm saying. It's just a weird thing. Like
it's a weird stance to have.
And it's I don't know the right way to do it, whatever. But like again, like especially about getting paid. Like if they don't bitch about it, no one will bitch for them. So they have to do that. That one I will never give them any fucking shit for, because if it's like we want to get paid more, it's like, yeah, we're not paying you more. Okay, we'll play anyway. And it's like, no, we're not going to play unless you pay us more. And it's like, oh, fuck.
Right.
All right, we'll give you a modest increase that, still isn't good enough, but we know that.
Right.
But then ultimately, too, it's like, so individuals didn't perform. The coach, for all accounts, sounds like he sucks. That's the biggest takeaway I saw was it seems like the coach is fucking terrible. Some substitution errors, some strategy errors, some game plan errors. Certain people could have been playing, so that weren't. Whoever's in charge of roster building, if the national team has a GM, like leaving certain people off or putting certain people on.
Yeah, I did hear about that too. There were a couple snubs that people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then, you put certain people on and you give them playing time. Maybe Megan Rapinoe getting subbed in at the very end for Alex Morgan. You're still your best goal scorer. I mean, people have their issues with her too. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But like, I literally don't know why. I don't follow. Like,
no, I don't either. I didn't even know that people had issues with Alex Morgan.
Well, she came out, Rapinoe went in, and then here we are. Then you don't have Alex Morgan in kicks. You do have Rapinoe, and it's like fucking disaster. And again, people who actually watch soccer said Rapinoe came in, and then all of a sudden she's just like fucking everything up. It's like she's trying to play it like her way. Either she doesn't give a shit or she's trying to play it her way, and that's like not what the team's doing. But
Right.
yeah, then there's young people on the roster not playing. There's people being held in too long or whatever. So it just seemed like a whole shit show altogether. And that doesn't even, we don't even know. Like, we don't even know if they showed up ready to go.
Right.
Like what were they doing in all their camps and lead up? And like, were they winning the other things? I have no clue.
Right.
So I don't want to let like the X's and O's and the tactical off, because just because they care about certain political topics doesn't mean, like, dude, they could have said the same shit in 2019 and they would have rolled everyone like they did.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
it
Yeah.
wouldn't have mattered. Like, the team just
Yep.
wasn't as good this time, and it's a little bit of everyone.
Right.
Individual players didn't perform.
Oh, I
Coach didn't do what he
completely
needed to
agree.
do.
I know
Roster didn't do what they needed to do.
the way I
But
kind of leaned into things and let it out may have made it seem that way,
no,
but like
but that's how people feel.
I agree with you, right?
People
I'm trying to like say what the sentiment is on social media.
People are saying they lost because they're anti-US, anti-women,
Right. Right.
and anti something else. I don't know. They probably hate old people, children, and dogs or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're saying. Like, literally, like anti-American, anti-women.
Yep.
I'm like, how are women anti-women? Someone explain that one to me. Like, I know what they're saying. I
Right.
get it.
Right.
But like, do you ever think about the shit that comes out of your fucking mouth? The women are anti-women. That's like unless it's a fucking Clayton Bigsby situation where you have a black white supremacist, like,
Yeah.
how the fuck can a woman be anti-women? Outside of the 1 in a fucking million, like, that's just sitting there being like, I see all these women out here and I fucking,
Yeah.
it's not
They
getting it
belong
done.
in the kitchen.
Yep, they should be back in the kitchen making sandwiches.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be working. Should be having 12 kids and 4 of them are going to die in the process, and they may die during childbirth.
Yeah.
But yeah, anti-American. Your opinion. Do I think that if you have so many problems with the country, should you play for your national team? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a
good point.
It's a good stage to get your message, but if you feel that strongly,
Right.
you still chose to represent that country.
Right.
So if you're that good, would it be more of a statement if you chose not to play and then made sure everybody knew why?
Right.
And then that team still has to go out and perform? Good luck.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That would be something that, like, again, if they were really anti-American,
Yeah.
they still chose to represent the country. So it's like, are they anti-American? Not really. They're anti-American on a couple values or a couple opinions.
Yeah. It's like but a lot of it is like street cred, right? That's why most people, that's why a lot of people, I think, say the things they say. And because I don't necessarily believe that a lot of people believe the stuff, right? I think they go along with it. I would say, especially in Hollywood, I think more people go along with it because they think that's what they're supposed to say, right? So, like, does every single member of the women's soccer team believe that? I don't know.
Nope.
I can't say for sure, right? But I would say it's probably a safe bet that they don't. And they're just kind of like going along with it because it's, like I said, the street cred, right? You want to be liked. You want your crowd to like you. And you're afraid that if you say how you really feel, people won't like you anymore.
So when I got up this morning, the game was over, and I went to Twitter and I was trying to figure out. I was actually trying to see, because I guess the kick that went in, like the winning penalty, the winning PK for Sweden, I guess it was like super controversial because it only covered by like an inch, and they used some, like, I don't know if it's like radar or GPS or something. So it created this like graphic of like how much it covered by or something. But I couldn't find anything about it. Nothing. I couldn't find shit about it. And I didn't look that hard, but I couldn't find anything. It's all about, see.
Yeah.
Or, and then it's like Rapinoe's kick. And then people like, like, I never liked this team. I never liked that. So I'm glad they lost. And seeing that Rapinoe missed one of the kicks, that was even better. That was icing on the cake. And I'm like, wow, these people really fucking hate this team. But
yeah,
that being said, when I went to Twitter in my For You, my trending, and my sports tabs, I could find soccer, U.S. women's national team. I could find Rapinoe, Morgan. I don't know many of the other players, but anyway, doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
don't know who's still on the team.
Smith, so Sophia
I would
Smith.
still say Carly Lloyd and Hope Solo. Like, I
Neither
think
of them are on
I think
there.
they've been retired for like fucking 10 years.
Well, Carly Lloyd she's like more of an analyst now, and she even said it too. She's like, she goes, they don't have it. She goes, they're more worried about fucking whatever, and she goes, that's part of the reason why, like, I didn't get along with them is like because I didn't do the politics,
Right.
whatever. So I don't know if she has disagreeing politics or just doesn't do them. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So then people have been saying that. So now this is only 12 hours ago. If this was any other sport, it would be all over here. I can't find any trending topics regarding this soccer team. So for as outraged as everybody was, apparently they're all over it.
Right.
Because we have now since forgotten about it.
And
And
we're 2 days after was it Jose Cabrera knocked, like literally KO'd Tim Anderson on the White Sox, and it's still being played all over. It's still trending.
let me do this. This is sports, trending in sports. Angel Hernandez, that can't be good because he's an ump. So great.
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher.
That's the only Jimbo I know in sports.
Green Bay, Padres, Rodon, Howie, Laporta, Foddy, Miles Jack, the D-backs, Kyle Tucker, Bryson, Sabrina Ionescu, Matt Olson, Malkin, Carson Wentz, Stanton, Herbert, Trey, Coco, Jordan Love, Panthers, George Floyd. So George Floyd's been dead for 3 years. He's trending more than any other women's soccer player right now, or that topic.
Right.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Coco. Is that like Coco Crisp?
Coco Crisp? Again, that's the only Coco I know in sports.
Evgeny Malkin.
Sam Laporta, who's a fucking rookie tight end for the Detroit Lions. Like,
that could be a baseball player too, though. That's the only thing
true.
I'm like, I don't know.
That's true.
They're nowhere to be found in the sports. So then if I go to trending, this is just US. Tekken, the video game. Miles Jack, Angel Hernandez, Barbie Takeover, Aces, that looks like WNBA. Wallner, I don't know what that is. Megan Rapinoe's 8th. And 12 hours ago, they were everywhere and everything. Oh, Keel Harry is 25. Maybe that's Nikhil's brother. I don't know.
It's his evil twin.
And then the next soccer topic that's trending is number 28. It's Arsenal.
Yeah.
So for all that outrage and for all of that people were so fucking bent out of shape about, what I'm gathering by that is everyone still hates the fuck out of Megan Rapinoe, which they do. And I'd be so like, if I actually like that team, I'd be so pissed. She fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And she showed it too. It's like, what a smug asshole.
Yep.
Yeah, people have already forgotten about it. So I'm like, it is interesting that, a national team like that got just absolutely shredded that way. Like, seriously, it's like Bruins style. Like, see?
Yeah.
We knew this would happen.
Yeah. But that was my whole like opening thought on it, right? Was like, it's very, very rare to me, at least I think, to see a national team get shredded like that.
Yeah, but they were so unlikable.
And that's what I mean. Like, that's why here's another thing there's too. Some sort of like experiment there,
so
right?
I'm a piece of shit, right? You can say yes.
Fair, yeah. So I was taking.
I'm a piece of shit.
If you weren't watching on the YouTube show, I was taking a drink.
You weren't thinking about it. So when the men's soccer team plays, I don't root against them, but I don't want them to have any level of success either. And it's only because I know how much of a farce soccer is in this country.
Right.
That I don't want them to have like a nice season or have like a nice whatever. Like, be more fucking serious about this. Like, like put competitive teams out there. Get like actual development going. Get real coaches. Like
Right.
put together a real fucking program and like don't miss World Cups. Like what the fuck is that? And I know Italy did, but like Italy also has the World Cup championships to be like, yeah, we missed one, but look at this trophy case.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like until you start putting together like real, actual competitive programs, like I'm not rooting for you. No fucking way. But like USA basketball, you better fucking win.
Right. Right.
Like it got sketchy in the last Olympics, I think, but ultimately they won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you show up to the Olympics, you better fucking win.
Right.
Which is
There's
what
literally no one that should be better at basketball than the United
and then
States.
I'm gonna fucking crush you if you don't. Like
right.
You should fucking win.
Yeah.
And if you don't win as the US Olympic team, that means with the most talented roster, you guys played like a bunch of fucking assholes. That's what it means. You guys didn't play together. You didn't share the ball. You didn't do what you were supposed to. You didn't listen to your coach. You all individually fucked it up for everybody.
Right.
I don't know how. I don't know whatever, but that's what happened in 2004. And I don't even remember what happened in 2004. I don't know who won. I don't know how they lost. Doesn't matter. You fucked that up.
Right.
Because there's no reason anyone should beat the US in basketball. Never. That would be like us putting an American football team out there and fucking losing to like Canada.
Yeah.
They don't even play our sport. Or like Australia. They don't even play our sport.
Yeah. Yeah. They play rugby.
Yeah. Ooh, we had a tight one with the Irish. Oh yeah, Gaelic, where they're sitting there fucking dribbling the ball and kicking the ball and shit. Yeah, tight one with the Irish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're telling me that you could have an offense with the 5 best offensive linemen in the NFL, the 5 best. Like you're picking the Pro Bowl starters.
Yeah.
But from both leagues too. Like not even just one side. Right.
So it would be the all pro. It would be the all pro team.
Yeah. Mahomes is your quarterback.
Yeah. Travis Kelce.
You can
Tyreek
have Kelce,
Hill. Oh, that's weird. 3 guys
familiar.
from it sounds like the Kansas City Chiefs in
Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Diggs can be like your 4.
Yeah. Diggs would be the 4th best receiver on the team.
And then
Devontae Adams would ride the bench.
Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, your defense, it's like it's Aaron Donald and it's like Quinnen Williams in a rotation with Dexter Long. Like, dude, this is
Joey and Nick Bosa, right?
Yeah. And it's like, so it's not an exact comparison because other countries do play soccer. So it's like they at least play the sport.
Right.
But yeah, you have a defense full of Watson Bosas and shit. Like,
Could you imagine? Could you imagine that defensive line lining up from like an offensive line from like Ireland, right? Like a bunch of dudes who are probably like 6 feet, like 260, right? Like a high school offensive line.
You would need like American Samoa would have to put a team out. That's the only people who would have a chance based on fucking lineage.
Yeah.
They're the only people that might be big enough and strong enough.
Yep. Yep. I bet
Tongans, I don't know.
They're kind of pussies, but the what are they called? What do you call the Danes? The people from the Netherlands. What are they called?
Well, I think Danes are Denmark. Dutch.
The Dutch. Yeah, that's what they are. The Dutch.
The Netherlands.
Because the Dutch are actually the biggest people. I think they're the biggest white people on earth. I think there's a tribe in the Maasai in Africa that have the tallest people in the world. But I think the average height of a male in the Netherlands is like 6'2". Like the average height is 6'2".
Large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet Iceland could probably put together like because they're fucking Vikings, but
yeah, I feel like they're all too skinny though.
Yeah. Yeah. You just think of like the mountain, like Hafthor Bjornsson.
Yeah, but is he like one of 10,000 or is he fucking one of 100? Like,
right. Yeah. It's pretty wild how big those dudes actually are too.
What, NFL players or like big people?
No, like the strongmen. So like we were just talking.
Like we were talking about them. So
an NFL defensive line, right? Of Nick and Joey Bosa, Aaron Donald, right? Like DeForest Buckner, like all these dudes that are just fucking monsters. But if you put them next to like Brian Shaw, they would look like an average human, right? Like Brian Shaw is 6'8", 450 pounds. That's a human being. Like Thor Bjornsson is 6'9", and I think he might be like he varies in weight because he cut down a lot. I think he cut down to like 350 because he got into boxing. But I think when he was competing in strongman, he might have been pushing 5 bills at 6'9". Like that's fucking mind blowing. Like that there's human beings that are that big.
I want to put together an offensive line of strongmen. And I'm not even. I don't even. I want to go back to like mid 2000s, like when
Mariusz Pudzianowski.
Yeah, he's your center. He's 6'1".
Wasn't that big? I was gonna say he's 6'1",
313.
Yeah, yeah. He was my favorite. I fucking loved everything about Mariusz Pudzianowski.
I didn't like his face. Phil Fister is probably a tackle because Phil Fister was 6'6", like 340. Who was
the giant fucking Swede? Magnus Samuelsson. He was fucking huge. I feel like he always ended up getting injured though. Like he would crush. He would be in first place through like 3 events, and then he would like blow his bicep or like completely like shatter his fucking femur or something. Like I feel like, or his back. He had a lot of back issues. I feel like Magnus Samuelsson was always like about to run away with it, and then he would just get crippled.
Zydrunas Savickas, he's like 6'6", fucking 400 pounds.
Yeah. Oh man, I used to love World's Strongest Man. There was nothing better than like, it was like Saturday morning cartoons. Like you put on ESPN and it was like the World's Strongest Man. And it's like, oh, let's fucking go. These dudes got like a 350-pound keg that they're just tossing through the air.
Dude, Sven Karlsson. He was huge, wasn't he?
Sven Karlsson.
Nicknamed the Viking. Oh, he's only 6'2".
There was another guy who was an American who everyone
Derek Poundstone.
Yes. Everyone thought he was going to be great, and then he kind of like fizzled out.
Pudzianowski won a lot of these things.
Yeah. No, he was my favorite.
He's got to be like the biggest, like the winningest one.
Yeah.
Phil Fister, 2006. Pudzianowski again. How much fucking gear was that guy on? Oh, Zavickas won twice.
All of it.
Yeah, then Brian Shaw. Yeah.
I think Brian Shaw's kind of run away with it recently.
Savickas was still involved.
Holy shit. So I just Googled Mariusz Pudzianowski.
Eddie Hall. That's another one.
That's who Thor Bjornsson fought. They boxed each other, Eddie Hall and Thor Bjornsson. Because Eddie Hall set the deadlift record of like whatever it was, like 1,200 pounds. And then like a week later, Thor Bjornsson beat it and did like 1,203 pounds or something stupid like that. So then they started like an online beef, and then they boxed each other. So Mariusz Pudzianowski has been fighting in MMA.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
since 2009.
That's not a fucking workplace hazard for the other person.
Yeah, he's had 27.
He's like 46 years old too.
Yeah, he's 46. Yeah. So he's had 27 professional MMA fights. His record is 17-9 and 1. He has 1 no contest. Of his 17 wins, 12 of them were by knockout.
Dude, that hand has got to be like a fucking cinder block.
Yeah.
Like take like someone who thinks they punch hard, like anyone listening, and you think you punch hard.
Yeah.
Now take someone with a cinder block that can punch that hard.
Yeah.
Probably the same damn size too.
So in the World's Strongest Man competition from 2002, Mariusz Pudzianowski first DQ'd. He got DQ'd in 04. Maybe he pissed hot. Who knows? The coming back in 2005, first. Second in 06, then first, second in 09. So from 2002 to 2009, He competed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. He won 5 of them, and he finished second twice. And then the last time he got DQ'd. Like literally every time he was in this, he either finished first or second. And then he retired. He retired in 2009 and then started fighting MMA.
Psycho.
It's fucking insane.
Was there also a Magnus Magnuson or something?
Yes.
I didn't see him on any leaderboards, but I remember the name.
Magnus Magnuson.
I can't
He
believe
was
I used to
older.
watch this shit.
He was older. He is born in 1963. So he was competing. He won worlds. He was like the Mariusz Pudzianowski of the 90s, because starting in 1991, Magnus Magnuson, first, second, first.
Okay, so he was good.
And then I think the original guy was he did commentary. He was the commentator for World's Strongest Man.
I will not know who that is.
He won a fuck ton in like the 80s. He was like the OG, like the first, I think it was the first multiple time winner. I almost said Bill Romanowski. That's not it.
That's a little different.
Although I'm sure he would have done well in World's Strongest Man. Fuck. What the hell is this guy's name? Let me see if I can find he's got to be in the Hall of Fame here. Bill Kazmaier. That's who it was. Bill Kazmaier. He was like the pioneer of World's Strongest Man in the US. Yeah, so starting in 1979, he finished third, first, second, fourth. So, well, those aren't consecutive. So from 79 to 82, he went third, first. He won 3 in a row. And then he stopped competing and competed again in 1988, where he finished second. So, Bill Kazmaier, that was the guy.
Sickos.
Yeah, so they're really big fucking humans. I don't even know how we got there.
We were talking about the U.S. women's soccer team.
Yeah, yeah, and we end up talking about just large fucking human beings, which that's like, I hesitate to even call them human, right? Like they're almost something different, right? Like if you're Thor Bjornsson and you're 6'9", 500 pounds with abs, like you're kind of not a human being. Like you're kind of something else. Like you're something a little bit different.
They call that untested.
Yeah. Like Brian Shaw, who's 6'8", 450. Right? Like I hesitate to call you a human. Magnus Magnuson, all those dudes, right? Like they're quite literally cut from a different cloth. Imagine you put Thor Bjornsson next to Darren Sproles. Both professional athletes, both very good at what they did, right? Like obviously now Darren Sproles is old, but when Darren Sproles was in his prime, he was a top 10 running back in the league. If not top 5 might be cutting it close, but he was a top
fantasy points.
Yeah, in fantasy he was certainly one of the best, but he was a top 10 running back in the league in his prime at 5'6", probably 190 pounds, next to Thor Bjornsson, who's 6'9", 500. That's like you're going to tell me both of you are human beings, right? Like that doesn't make sense. Which now that I say that, I feel like I've heard that might be like a Joe Rogan comment. I feel like I've heard Rogan maybe say that before. Maybe that's not an original thought, but
Great,
I thought
now we're ripping off Joe.
Yeah. Get in line. It's what everyone does apparently these days. So switching gears a little bit, since we're talking about sports though, I saw the other day they released the betting handle for Massachusetts for the month of June. So I originally saw people were complaining about May, right? Because so the big thing that I saw was, I think this was on Twitter. People were saying, "Oh, the handle in May was down. Here we go, sports betting, it's going down," right? Like people like trying to like
It
getting
should
ready to
go down.
bury sports betting
It's just
because May was low. They're like, May dropped 20% lower than April.
how would it not?
Yeah, and it's like there's nothing to fucking
Actually,
bet on in May.
the fact that it only dropped 20% is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Because in April you could still bet Bruins and Celtics.
right, right. But just even in April, like you have the Masters, right? Like what's in May?
And
Right.
April probably caught the NCAA final.
True, true.
NFL draft.
Yep, yep. That's another one. So I then Googled what the handle has been every month, and I found out that they just released the one for June. So I now have the information going all the way back to January. So of this calendar year.
Yep. So January we only got a day. No.
Yeah, well, so
2 days.
January has 488,000. So I'm gonna use as round numbers as I can. So I'm gonna say 490. So
Yeah, I want to say
January had
January
490,000.
I want to say January went live on like the 30th though.
Yeah. And it was just retail.
Yeah.
So
February was just retail.
The short amount of time in January was $490,000. February, that was also retail for the month, did 24.5 million.
Ew.
In person. So only retail the month
Yuck,
of February.
That's not good.
No. Then the month of March.
That's when mobile went live.
This is when mobile went live. So all together, mobile and retail, the handle was 570 million.
So it improved $550 million in a month that did not involve the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, really. I bet the state is really, really glad that
they had 6
that
weeks
we had to
fucking
wait.
ramp up.
We had to wait until March to get that money. Fucking morons. So just the quick breakdown: the retail in March was 20 million, and the online was 550 million. So then in April, the total was 560 million.
Yeah,
so it went
April's
down.
a good month.
But it did go down, but it's basically
the excitement's gone. So it's April's still a good month.
And also March is March Madness, right? Like
yeah.
There's literally like multiple games on a day.
Yeah, and I think mobile only missed. It might have missed the first weekend, which if mobile missed the first weekend, that number will be 600 next year.
Yeah, true. So April did 560, right? And then May did 455 million.
Yeah. No Bruins, no Celtics, no fun.
Right, right. So then June just came in 332 million.
Yeah, well,
there's nothing to bet on in June.
Yeah.
Right?
Shit month.
Yeah. July is going to be even worse. The only thing to bet on in July is baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you pull all you would do is see what's the percent drop off and then compare it to other states, and I'm guarantee it's probably pretty fucking close. Yeah. The only thing is our numbers might be a little more volatile because it's newer. It's not established yet.
So I will say this is actually pretty cool. The MGC breaks it down by like book too. So you can see like how much did Encore bring in? How much did MGM Plainridge bring in? How much did each online sports book, right? Like between Barstool, MGM, Better, Caesars, DraftKings, Fanatics, FanDuel, WinBet, all they have them all listed. So I think it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool that they list that out. So all told, on the year so far since January, the handle in Massachusetts is $1.6 billion through the first 6 months of the year.
And it's usually estimated. So shit. It's a lot of zeros. So it's usually estimated that the hold is about 5%. I think. 80 million. What's our tax rate? Basically, it's going to be probably 18% because most of it's going to be 20, but some of it's only 15.
So they also list the tax collected too. So I can get you
Oh,
I can get you a
should be right
number
around
there.
14 and a half.
So June, the tax was 6.4 million.
Well, do you have it for the year?
No, I had to add these up.
Okay, don't do it.
So if we go 6.4,
Oh, they're holding way more than 5% then.
12. So 6 and 12 is 18. And April was another 12. So what is that? 30. March was 9.5. If we round it up to 10, that's 40. And then February and January combined were probably like 300,000. So of the
We'll
one,
just call it 40.
yeah, well, $40 million that the state has brought in tax revenue through sports betting
And again,
through 6 months. And that's with 2 months of only retail.
yeah. So most of that's going to be at 20%. So that means, oh my God, this is going to be hysterical. Divided by 1.8.
This is where we do math.
Yeah, they're holding 11%.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah, they're holding about 11%.
Yeah. So if you assuming the second half of the year goes similar to the first half,
It should be.
it's good.
It has to be.
Should be more, right?
Should
Because
be
again,
way
January
higher.
and February were shells of months.
No,
So
well, not only that. So September, October, November, December should be the 4 highest months of the year.
right.
Maybe March. And people do like the Bruins and Celtics around here. So maybe March.
Yeah, I would say
cuts into that.
October and March are probably the two
It should be
higher
September because September has all of the futures.
Oh, that's true too. That's a good point. If you look at it that way, I was assuming that because every single sport is playing in October and it's playoff baseball, right? So like people that normally
hey, that might
don't
not be relevant for one team around here.
Yeah, no, I know it won't be for the Red Sox, but like even if you're a Red Sox fan, you'll probably still bet on the MLB playoffs, right?
Yeah, so I will be interested to see because I was thinking Patriots preseason, Patriots win totals, Patriots Super Bowl.
Yeah. But October you have
all the sports
football
going.
regular season, basketball and hockey are back regular season, and you have playoff baseball. So if I were just to guess, like gun to head, what's going to be the highest handle month? I would say October in the whole year.
Definitely could be because that's like your because now you got NHL and NBA futures, which won't be as high as basketball.
Right.
And people here will bet college too.
Yeah.
Like we're not affected by the lack of BC betting.
Right. That's another good point too. So just conservatively, right? Say it doubles. We're looking at over $3 billion that the state is going to bring in, or that we'll have as a handle, right? For the entire year, that the first 2 months didn't even count. So basically through 10 months of the year, we're gonna surpass $3 billion in handle. But yeah, I'm really glad we held off getting sports betting. And then what, an 11% hold? That's going to be roughly 300 million.
And then 20% of that. 60?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. 60 for the state?
Yeah, $60 million in the first year.
Builds a lot of bike lanes.
Every town is gonna get a bike lane. uh I fucking hate this state. I got fucked by the bikes yesterday. So we
Oh, the
played
Pan
the Pan Mass
Mass, whatever, the
Challenge. It
PMC.
literally the Pan Mass Challenge literally drives right by my house. Like it
They were
buys
driving.
it crosses over Route 1. So like
I,
if I want to go north on Route 1, I have to fucking wait for all the dickheads on their bikes to be done before I can get wave to go across Route 1. Fucking bullshit. They cross right at Applebee's. So literally like right by my house. It's fucking ridiculous. I got because I went to I played yesterday at Brook Meadow with Bill and Clovis's buddy, which I'll come back to for my final thought. But I left early. We had a 9. This was hilarious. We had a 9:54 tea time. I left at 8:45. So what more than an hour, because I was like, I'm gonna stop at the gas station and get a gallon of water, right? And I'm gonna get gas, and then I'm gonna go up, and then I want to hit the range, right? Because I want to try and warm up again. Ever since I fucked up my back, like I try to do a little bit of something before I play, right? I try not to walk to the first tee cold. So I get stuck on fucking Route 1, waiting for all the bikes to come by. And then I finally get it's so fucking frustrating because you obviously you know the area. It's that road. The gas station is right there. Like I can spit, literally like stick my head out the window and spit and hit the fucking gas station, but I can't get to it because I have people like wannabe Lance Armstrongs fucking driving by me for 15 minutes. So I finally get let out and I drive the 27 feet to the gas station and go in, whatever, get all my shit, get up there. And I'm like, all right, I'm a little bit later than I would have liked. I think it was like 9:20, 9:25 by the time I got there. And I was like, I don't know. I think Bill was going to hit the range. And I was like, maybe I'll just steal a couple balls from Bill when he's on the range. So I get there and I pull in next to Bill. I unload. He's got everything on the cart, and he's ready to go. And he was like, "Oh yeah, when I checked in, the starter wants to send us out a little early." And I was like, "All right, fine, whatever." So I guess I'm not going to hit the range at all. So we walk over, and everyone else had already paid, and the starter's like, "All right, you Stearns, yeah, you guys are up." And I was like, all right, I just got to run and take a piss and pay real quick. So I was like, oh, there's always one in every group. Oh, it's got to do that. And I turn around and I go, wait, I'm 25 minutes fucking early. Like, you were sending us out early. I literally said that. And there was 2 guys on the putting green that started dying laughing because like they're watching the whole thing. Because he's like, oh, one in every group. And I was like, buddy, I'm 25 fucking minutes early. I don't know how much more you want me to do. And I just kept walking into the pro shop.
You could just like, hey, I cannot pay.
Yeah, right. Like, so I paid, I pissed, I went out and we got on the tee box and we're going. And fucking Butch Harmon is the starter apparently at Brook Meadow on fucking Saturdays because he's trying to give Clovis all kinds of fucking swing tips.
Oh boy.
While he's on the tee box. Granted, he took about four attempts to try and hit the fucking driver and he couldn't do it. But it's like, oh yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'm like, and poor Clovis is like, I just want to get off the tee box. And I wanted to tell him like, dude, just throw one in the fairway and I'll get you on the next tee box. Like I'll help you out. Like, don't worry. Don't listen to fucking this dickhead. And then I guess while I was paying and pissing, he was like giving everyone the full rundown of the course and like, oh, you got to hit the ball here on the second hole. And he said something along the lines of like, oh, the second hole gives me nightmares. You got to get off the tee and you got to make good shots here and you got to do this. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm really glad
But the hole with the
I
bushes
wasn't
directly
there.
right off the tee, and you gotta
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay,
Yeah. And
that
woods
hole
are
sucks.
the woods are like 210, right? So like
Yeah,
you can't
that's that whole stuff.
yeah, you can't really do much there. So I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm really glad I wasn't there for the fucking golf lesson and the play by play.
The course strategy
Yeah.
with Scott Fawcett.
Yeah. So after we walked off, I was like, oh, you guys didn't like Jim Nance back there on the fucking tee box.
I guess Jim Nance does that shit at Pebble.
Oh,
Like if he's
really?
he has like obviously he lives there. He has his own car. He
right.
drives around, whatever. He'll like walk over, be like, hey, what are you guys' names? Whatever. And like now on the tee, like whatever. It's like announcing it. It's like
That's pretty fucking awesome.
I think it's fucking weird as hell. Like I understand that.
I think
like,
he gets it. Like he's part of, that's one of those things where like he's part of the joke, where like he understands
how
that, like,
fucking weird that is.
Yes.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
Jim Nance, like, nice to meet you, I guess. It's not really. You're never gonna remember who I am.
Right.
But like, this is fucking weird. Like,
Yeah,
that's fucking weird as hell.
I think I like that. I think I like
I
that
don't know.
he's in on the joke.
I didn't
Like
see
he
him.
gets
He didn't
yeah,
announce my shot.
that he gets how fucking weird that is and like how like he has to understand how fucking strange that would be for people.
Yeah, but it's like if it's Gary Busey, at least I'm like, okay, well, this guy's out of his mind. Like,
right.
it's fucking crazy. But like, I think Jim Nance, I'm like, okay, so he announces everything, no problem. But he's just like Jim Nance is a fucking weirdo. He's got that weird thing about his toast where he carries around a picture of how he wants the toast cooked. And he like freaks out if it's not that. And, like he gives his tie to like not the best player in the NCAA tournament, but like the one that he wants to give, like the Jim Nance like best
the Jim
player.
Nance award, yeah, the Tommy
gives
points.
Him his tie, and it's like, God, I wish you weren't so fucking awkward, bud.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that. Like I said, I'll get back to that on my final thought, but that was just a classic fucking getting fucked by the Pan Mass challenge. Actually, looking at the time here, we could wrap this up. Do you want to wrap it up?
We can wrap it up.
All right. What do you got?
So I did my whole flooring rundown.
Yep.
Last time. Yep. So last week we also bought timing gates. So testing 10-yard dashes, pro agilities, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I have no fucking time. I got no fucking time during the week to fucking get these things fucking figured out. So finally figured out Wednesday.
Do they have to be like calibrated?
They got it like because you have to like do it through your phone, like laser beams and sharks and shit. Like it's all fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's like I download the app. Okay, I'm trying to get these fucking things going. No problem. Like finally fucking figure it all out. Okay, I'm like, okay, I got it. So the way that the 10-yard dash works is you stand in the beam and the app will say go. And then at that point, you leave the beam and you run to the other side, and that's the end of the dash.
Right.
Seems easy enough, right?
Yeah.
So I took my 3 middle school kids I had that day. I go, you guys are gonna be my guinea pigs for this. So first kid I put in the beam. Like, all right, get in the beam. Go, okay. Moves. I'm like, nope, get back in the beam. Okay. He goes. Gives me a weird number. I'm like, that was odd. I don't know why. Next person, standing in the beam. She actually moves backwards to break the beam. Doesn't really kind of go and then goes. So it came out as like a 3.5 second fucking 10. I'm like, that should be fucking 220. Like,
yeah.
Next kid gets in the beam. Okay, when you're ready, looks at me and goes, so when do you want me to go? I go, you got to be fucking kidding me. I'm like, okay. He actually gets like a halfway decent one.
Right.
Next kid goes, I was back to the first kid, put him in the beam, ducks underneath it, then pops back up and then goes. I'm like,
God.
I'm gonna fucking
Oh,
freak
so
out.
these are like legit, like tall.
They're on tripods.
Oh, okay. I was like, when you say the timing gates, I assumed like, the cones, because they make ones that are cones that are
Yeah.
like timing too. So these are like
Yeah.
legit. They're high up.
They're lasers
they're
on
off the ground.
tripods.
Yeah, they're off the ground.
I'm like, so I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm ready to fucking flip out. So I'm like, let me just see if I can fucking figure this shit out. And I'm getting people are ducking under the laser. They're rocking back first, then they're going, then they're like, they move forward like an inch,
Right.
wait, and then they go. And I'm like, God fucking damn it. I'm like, I got these fucking gates. I go, and they're not idiot proof. I'm like, they're supposed to be fucking idiot proof. I go, all right, fine. Let me do the pro agility. I go, it's only one gate. How can they fuck this one up? First kid gets into his position. He's underneath the laser. I go, fuck. So I lower the laser down. I lower the other one down. Can't get it to fucking calibrate. I'm like,
Oh God.
I'm gonna fucking smash these things before we even got to fucking use them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the latest success in work from last week. So not only the flooring, but I didn't see a bubble in the floor yet.
I was just gonna ask, did the bubble come back?
The bubble didn't come back. But
I didn't hear about a building fire in Easton,
Yeah.
so I figured it didn't
Possibility for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, now the timing gates. So I did fix one snafu with timing gates. One of the snafus is I can do a flying 10. Now, technically speaking, a flying 10, you need a 10-yard lead and then a 10-yard sprint. And we don't have that until we have wall-to-wall that. Like the kids will be crashing into shit. So I can set it up like that, have them start directly behind the laser so that when they go, they break it.
Right.
So 10-yard dash figured out. Pro agility, don't know about that one.
Yeah.
I know I have to set it up lower. It still needs the 3 seconds before you break the beam, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely won't set it up too high or too low, because that's the other problem is if it was like cone height, it's too low. Kids, it's through their legs.
Yeah.
Like fucking sick. Awesome. Yeah. Can't fucking do anything right.
Yeah. So I'll come by this week and you can time my 10.
I can time your 10. 10's no problem. It's the fucking pro agility.
Oh man. It's always fucking something.
Ugh,
are you gonna have enough runway in the new space or like how much space will you have, right? Would probably be the better question.
I don't even have a signed lease yet.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't fucking know anything.
But theoretically, right? Like,
I won't have 40 yards of.
Oh, okay.
Because if you figure a 10-yard lead, a 10-yard sprint, or I don't have 30 yards either. Because if you figure 10-yard lead, 10-yard sprint, 10 yards of not crash.
Yeah.
That would require 30 yards, 90 feet. I don't think we have a 90-foot length.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a 90-foot length.
Yeah, because once you get into that, you're looking at just like massive spaces, and then you're like, what am I going to do with all this space, right?
Yeah, because if we want under 5,000 square feet on a 90-foot length, we're talking like 90 by 55.
Yeah.
And 55 is sneaky narrow. That's a very weird shaped building.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 90 by 55. That's 4,950 feet. It's good math.
What can I say? Yeah, that would be a very weird shaped building, like extremely weird shaped building.
Yeah. Because it would also have to be like the building itself would have to be a little bit bigger than that, right? Like to get 90 feet inside, you need more than that on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would end up with something that's quite literally almost double the length as it is.
Yeah, it'd be fucking fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, so my final thought, I will jump back to what I was talking about yesterday with Brook Meadow. And all I'll say is look at us, huh? Being fucking golf people now, because I made a fucking eagle yesterday for the first time ever. And
Talk to you when you get to 4.
yeah, I actually had no fucking idea that it was an eagle. So I forget, I think it might have been the 7th hole. I can pull it up really quick. It's just on the app that I have right here.
It also
The
doesn't matter. I don't actually remember Brook Meadow. I just remember that one tee shot.
This is the 8th hole. So on the 8th hole, if I go to my scoring, it was a 475 yard par 5. So shorter side, right? It's less than 500 yards. I smoked my drive 267 yards, and I had about 170 in, and I was like, all right, I'll just take like a 6-iron and just try and make good contact, right? Like, don't get fucking crazy, just make a good swing. And I took a 6-iron. I hit it. It hit like it was right on the fucking pin, the line with the pin. It ended up landing maybe about 4 feet left of the pin, about maybe a couple yards short of the pin because from where the divot was. And the where it ended, I think it was, I can tell you exactly how long I had. I had 13 feet. I had 13 feet for my third shot for a putt. It was actually the one I sent you a Snapchat of. Walking up to that, I was just like, wow, that was a really great approach shot. And I took the Snapchat of it, sending it, not having any idea it was a par 5 and not knowing that I was about to putt for an eagle. I had no fucking clue. I thought it was a birdie. I thought it was a par 4. And at one point, Clovis's buddy, Pat, was like, oh, is this what is this? I was like, I have no idea. Whatever it is, my third shot on the hole, so it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. So he was like, is this a par 5? I was like, I have no fucking clue. Like, don't ask me. Like, why would you say that? But I was like, I literally said, whatever it is, this is my third shot. So let's see how it goes. And I hit the putt, and obviously it goes in. And I was like, oh, like I could just get fired up. And he was like, dude, I think you just made an eagle. And I was like, no fucking way. This is a par 5. And I looked back in the card, and it was a par 5. And I think I literally ran off the green and like jumped on the golf cart like a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was pretty fired up. I made an eagle and had no idea that I did so. So my first time ever.
That's probably the better way because you probably would have hit that putt fucking 7 feet by if you knew it was for eagle.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, gotta get it there.
Yeah, I just thought it was for birdie. I was like, yeah, I'll hit this putt. Or if I don't, I'll just clean up for par. But yeah, so shot an 88 at Brook Meadow. So
I don't remember.
pretty,
That's the thing is I don't remember. I played there once. I don't remember if I played 9 or 18. And I don't remember shit about it.
yeah. It's a nice course.
People like it. I just know it's busy as hell.
Yeah, it is busy. Some of the holes get tight, but it's kind of one of those, like, it's a little bit tricky. I got lucky because we played the white tees, which I think were 6,200 yards. But it's a lot of bunkers in the landing area. So there was a lot of bunkers like from the white tees between 220 and 240 off the tee. I got lucky yesterday where I was actually hitting the driver really well. Like on that hole, I hit a 267 over a set of bunkers, right? And into the fairway. So I was actually able to carry the fairway bunkers, all of them yesterday. Again, I think I'll have to look. I can pull it back up pretty quickly. My tee shots or my driver yesterday went 264, 269, 263, 273, 252, 231, 229, 257, 251, 267, 241, and then 187 was just, because God forbid I have a full round with all good drives. So I think the average of all those was about 250. So I had a really good day with the driver yesterday. But yeah, the irons were better. It's one of those where like I would say driver was probably my best club yesterday, but where like if I made a bad iron shot, like a bad second shot, I was able to chip it close and putt and get out of there. Like I only had one disaster hole out of the 18 where I made a triple on 16. So, I hit I have to look. I can't. It just tells me percentage. It says I hit 65% of fairways. I hit 9 fairways. I only hit 2 greens, but like I said, my around the green was pretty good yesterday. So all in all, I'm pretty solid with my golf game as it stands. As long as I'm not at Sharon Country Club. I feel confident.
Yeah. Well, Sharon brings everybody back to earth.
Yeah. So that's that. That's going to do it for us. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe up top, up above. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Website, sarcasmspeaks.com. If you're an audio only listener, you can also subscribe over there. If you use iTunes or Spotify, you can leave us 5 stars and a review. So go do that. Please and thank you. Tell everybody you know about the show. We're almost at 100 subscribers on YouTube. So that's pretty cool. If you guys are watching right now, if you can hear the sound of my voice, go ahead and click the subscribe button up top. And continue to tell everybody you know about the show as well. What else we got? Oh, we got sponsors. So shout out to the Ice Pod. You go to, I believe their website is like thepodcompany.co. I don't know. It's in the show notes, right? It's below. Just read the stuff below. You'll get the promo code. You'll get all that, and you'll get $10 off your purchase at the Ice Pod. Also, we have Noon Brew. Again, as I do in just about every episode, I was drinking it earlier. Great nighttime sleep tea, if you will, if you call it that. Everything you would need to get good sleep. You can go to noonbrew.com. I believe the promo code right now is Jared12412 after it got changed because you fuckers spammed it. But I did just get an email today that Noon Brew is going to be switching their affiliate host. So that's that social snowball app that just gives us like the goofy things. So I think moving forward, this isn't in effect yet. And again, this will all update in the show notes when it goes live. I think I got notification. It's like 2 or 3 weeks out, but it'll just be noonbrew.com/Jared Mello, I think. So we'll see what we do there, if I can actually change it to Sarcasm Speaks or something like that. That's there. The last one we have is mybookie.com. Use the promo code SarcasmPod to double your first deposit up to $1,000. If you live in a state that doesn't have legal sports betting yet, you can use MyBookie, and you can double your first deposit with that promo code. So enjoy that. That's going to do it for us. Until next time, good night, everybody.